Good evening. All right, y'all. So this is Thursday's thoughts. We are about to jump right on into some life lessons that I have learned from movies, books, and so on. So, right now, what we're about to get into, we're about to dive into Mufasa. Now, I feel like enough time has passed. Y'all should have seen this movie by now. So I'm not about to ruin it for nobody because at this point, you should have seen the movie. Okay. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you, but hopefully you get something out of this. Okay. So, Thursday thoughts. We are about to dive right on in. I have my notes here because I took notes. You cannot control. Hold on, let me say this for the people in the back. Like, you cannot control how someone else's trauma causes them to view you. You cannot control how someone else's trauma distorts their view of you. And we're going to look at the relationship between Taka and Mufasa. And we're going to break this down, okay? So listen. The movie, we not there was a lot in that movie. Now, do I feel like, some things could have been done differently? Of course I do. But that's neither here nor there. What we are going to focus on right now is Mufasa and Taka. Okay. So sometimes, no matter how much you love somebody, no matter how much you show them love, no matter how much you give them all of the things, someone else's pain can and may very well always turn you into the enemy. You may very well become the enemy no matter how much you love them, no matter how much you do your best to be there for them. You may still very well end up becoming the enemy. You are the villain in their story, in their mind. Let's look at the setup, okay? Let's look at the setup. We've got Mufasa, who is pretty much an orphan. So, in the beginning of the movie, Mufasa's on this journey with his family, and he ends up in a situation. So, Mufasa's already dealing with childhood trauma. Okay? He's gone through some things. He has lost his mother and his father on this journey that he's on. He ends up alone in the wilderness, out in the jungle. He's by himself. He's already an only child, and then he ends up by himself, separated from his mother, separated from his father, on his way to the, for lack of better words, we're gonna call it the promised land because I can't remember what the land was called right now. But they were on their way, right? And he ends up alone on this journey. And he finds Taka and his pride and their family, right? And they go through this whole thing. It's like Taka's like, I've always wanted a brother. He's this spoiled, like, wealthy kid, for lack of better terms, right? Taka's father does not want Mufasa around. So he's dealing with all of this rejection. We've got the abandonment from being separated from his family, separated from his parents. Then he gets to this other pride, and Taka's mother, the queen, she's embracing him and all the things. Taka's like, I always wanted a brother, the whole song, all the things. And then you get to his father. And his father is like, kill him and eat him. Like, he doesn't belong here. Like, he gotta go. So now you've got this abandonment and you've got this rejection that is settling in on young Mufasa, and he's just a cub trying to make it. Okay. Now, there are some seeds that get planted in Taka's mind that adjust his view of Mufasa while they are growing, right? So there's the whole situation. They get older. So Mufasa is one. Let's go back to further in drive this rejection. Mufasa is a male cub. Taka's father forces Mufasa to live with the lionesses. Like, Mufasa doesn't even get to stay with the other male lions. He is forced to live with the women, ostracized. Crazy work, right? It ends up working out for him later on because there's a certain skill set that he picks up that most male lions do not have, but it's because the male lions don't really hunt like that. That is the lionesses. That's their forte. So Mufasa is picking up skills, and he's picking up a whole new skill set that most male lions do not possess, because this rejection actually ended up being something that worked out for him. Why? Because all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to their purpose, right? So even though it was meant to harm him, even though it was meant to hurt his soul, because he's being rejected on every side. Good evening. He's being rejected on every side. He's picking up skills. He's picking up keys. He's picking up abilities that most male lions do not possess. And so they get a little older. Mufasa, he's learning how to hunt and all the things because he's with the women. And there are these big white lions, the pale lions, that are, taking over the prides, and they're killing folks, and they on a rampage. Mufasa and Taka and the mom are out, and they are attacked. And in them being attacked, Mufasa saves Taka's mother. Taka runs away. Why? Because, homeboy, he can't really fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't got them hands. Or should I say them paws? He ain't got them. Right. So he's fearful. He runs away. Mufasa holds it down and saves the queen. What happens? They keep that whole little situation, the fact that Taka ran away, they keep that a secret. Nobody can know that he ran away from the situation, right? And a seed gets planted by Taka's father. His father tells him deception is the tool of kings. He's young, he's impressionable. He is trying to live up to this king status, or this what is expected of him. And his father tells him deception is a tool of kings. That plants a seed that we see being utilized later on down the line in the movie. Meanwhile, we have Mufasa, who is simply moving in integrity, doing what needs to be done. And like Mufasa was just doing what he saw was right. Like she needed protecting, he protected her. Comes up again later, someone needs protecting, he protects them, he saves them. And somehow it backfires in his face. All the while, he's just doing what he needs to do, moving in integrity, doing what needs to be done. Taka is now seeing Mufasa as a rival instead of a brother. That moment where Mufasa saved his mother's life and he ran away, something shifted in his psyche where Mufasa is no longer the brother that he always wanted, and now he's a rival of sorts. His father also plants a seed saying that one day he will betray you. The seed is planted in his mind from his father. One day he's gonna betray you. Mufasa ain't doing nothing but living his life. Okay? He ain't doing nothing but living his life. Mufasa and Taka. I parallel them to Cain and Abel. Right? Abel offers a sacrifice to the Lord. Cain Cain wants to offer a sacrifice like Abel did, but what Cain offers, it didn't come from his heart. So he wasn't able to give with the same, he didn't give with the same posture that Abel gave, right? And so he is seeing Abel as a rival when Abel is not a rival to him. That's his brother. Abel was just, he felt led to do what needed to be done and give this offering. Cain is like, all right, I'm gonna give an offering too. And it ain't. Abel gave the best of the best. And that is not what Cain gave. And so his offering was not accepted. The parallel here. Sin is crouching at your door is what God tells Cain regarding his brother. Sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Cain was moving in bitterness. He was moving in comparison, comparing himself to Abel. And God was not comparing the two of them. Like, he was not. But this sibling rivalry that came into being because of this sacrifice that was made, and one was accepted and one was not, that created something in his heart that caused him to no longer see his brother as his brother. Same thing in Mufasa. Now his father is comparing him to Mufasa, and in his mind, Mufasa is now a rival instead of the brother that he had always wanted. Taka is beginning to feel unseen. He's comparing himself to what Mufasa is able to do. Mufasa's bravery, Mufasa's strength, all these things. He's doing all of this. Cain gave from the fruit of the ground, and God already cursed the ground. Right. The ground was already cursed. You're offering something that has been cursed. And that's what you're trying to give back to God. He don't want that. That's not what he wants. What are you offering? Taka is dealing with bitterness. He's dealing with comparison. Listen, y'all, comparison is the thief of joy. You should not, please do not compare your journey, your life, what you have going on. Do not compare it to the next person, because what you are dealing with is not what the next person is dealing with. He is looking at Mufasa like, oh, Mufasa has all these abilities and whatever he's looking at, and thinking Mufasa is better than him. Meanwhile, Mufasa is sitting here parentless on his own. His mother and father are gone. Taka has his mother and father. He's so busy comparing himself to Mufasa, he's not understanding that while you sitting here comparing yourself to this person is longing for what you have that you're not even paying attention to, that you're not being grateful for. Right. Mufasa's bravery was not a choice. He was thrown into that. It was a whole flood that took his parents out, separated him from them. He was thrown into a situation. It was either survive or die. Those lions came and attacked. It was either survive or die. He was just doing what he needed to do to keep living. Wasn't about anything else on Mufasa's end. So Taka is sitting here allowing those seeds that the father planted to grow and take root. So we see in this relationship that they have, Mufasa is constantly covering for Taka's mistakes. When Sarabi was in danger, Mufasa saves her. She doesn't know who did it because she was knocked unconscious. So Sarabi's like, who saved me? Mufasa tells her it was Taka. Why? Because Mufasa is trying to love on his brother. He knows his brother like this girl. Okay? Now, does Taka have, he ain't got no game. He trying to talk to her and it's a hot mess. Like, Taka he was the one in the friend group with no game, okay? No game whatsoever. And so he's struggling trying to hold a conversation with Sarabi. I think he said something to her like she smelled like a frog or something weird he said to her that didn't make no sense. Like it was awkward, his conversation, like it just wasn't there. Meanwhile, Mufasa, who has been forced to live with the female lions, he has no problem talking to Sarabi. Why? That's who he spends most of his time with. He spends most of his time with the female lions because he was not, that is how that went. he lived with the females. He had no problem talking to females. Now, Taka in his thought process, he's a prince, Sarabi's a princess. They're supposed to, link up because that is the royal order of things. But he's awkward. He don't know how to talk to people. He ain't got no game. Mufasa, he sees this. He tries to help him out. He tries to give him some tips, give him some, just holler at her like this, say this to her, whatever. So when he saves her, what does he say? Taka saved you. And she's all, ooh, oh, yay, Taka, my hero, all the things, right? Mufasa. He didn't do any, he lied for him, okay? Lied for him. It was grace, but it was also a setup because the truth always reveals itself. Mufasa never went on a rampage like, I'm gonna steal your girl, blah, blah, blah. She figured it out on her own. So Taka feels betrayed, but it's not Mufasa's fault. Mufasa already lied to this girl for you. Rafiki looking at him like, brother, what is wrong with you? Why you lying to this girl like this? Like, Rafiki already see, like, y'all two need to, Rafiki be knowing. And Rafiki looking at him sideways when he like, oh yeah, Taka saved you. Like, what? Brother. Taka feels betrayed when Sarabi figures out the truth. But here's the thing. I watched the movie and I couldn't help but laugh. And I'm like, bro, trauma will really have you watch a situation, see a situation with your own eyes, but because you are looking through the lens of your trauma and you are looking through the lens of your bitterness, you are looking through the lens of your anger, you will see and tell yourself a story. You will tell yourself a story that is not even the truth, but you're watching it happen and you're telling yourself something completely different. Sarabi is asking Mufasa questions. They're talking. She's trying to figure out how he knows the smells and these different things because he's never been where, in her land or whatever. She trying to figure some stuff out. She digging. They're having conversation and he says something. And him saying what he said, what did he say? He said, I got you, which was the same thing he said while he was saving her. So, the memory, the mind, she picks up on it and she's like, wait a minute. Taka is not the one that saved me. You the one that saved me. Why did you lie? Mind you, Taka in the background watching this whole conversation. Mufasa never out of his mouth tried to tell her anything. He was sticking to the story. Okay? He was holding down the story. He said it was Taka. My brother man, he got you. It was him. Mufasa tried to stick to the story. So Robbie figures it out on her own. She chooses Mufasa because he's the one who actually saved her. He's the one who makes her feel safe. Taka watches this whole interaction, watches Mufasa still try to push her towards him, and then comes to the conclusion that Mufasa has betrayed him. Y'all, I can't make this stuff up. The girl figured it out on her own. Mufasa has betrayed him all of a sudden. Instead of accepting the fact that Sarabi was just not into him, instead of accepting the fact that they weren't compatible, bro. Like it wasn't there. He now has made Mufasa his enemy. Why? That seed that was planted by his father long ago, Mufasa's gonna betray you. He takes this moment and watches this interaction, and that seed has now caught taken root with that bitterness that was already inside of him because of the comparison theory that was going on. Now, now they are they're here. And Taka is like, I've been betrayed. Meanwhile, Mufasa was still trying to tell the lie for him, but he's been betrayed because the girl figured it out on her own. You know what Proverbs 19 says? A person's own folly leads to their ruin, yet their heart rages against the Lord. His own folly was leading him to destruction. All Mufasa was doing was living his life, y'all. Mufasa was just trying to live his life. He was just trying to survive and trying to get to, I think it's called Mupendi. I think that's what it was called, Mupendi, the promised land, okay? Mufasa just trying to make it to the promised land, y'all. That's it. They on the run. Taka's father, one, oh, I forgot to mention this part. So they come into contact with Sarabi because they are on the run from them lions. Because the lion that Mufasa, I think Mufasa killed him when he was saving Taka's mother. It was the son of the big bad white lion who was coming through and wrecking shop everywhere. So they're on the run. Taka is trying to, like, prove himself and be brave. And his father is like, nah, bruh, you need to run and you need to roll with Mufasa. Mufasa protect my son. So his ego is already shot. His ego is shot because first Mufasa saved his mom and he ran away. Now he's trying to stay and fight, and his dad is like, nah, bro, you don't even stand a chance. I need you to go with Mufasa and stay alive. Get up out of here. You not fighting. I need you to run. And stay with Mufasa. Mufasa gonna protect you. Shot to the heart. Ego blasted. Okay? So these are the things that were helping that bitterness to take root. Okay? Because your daddy ain't even got no faith in you to protect yourself like Mufasa. Keep my son alive. Just the ego. And then when it's time to save Sarabi and he is too fearful to do it, now all these things are replaying in his head. All the moments where he had the opportunity to be brave. And I believe his mother said to him at one point, "Your moment will come. You will have your time to be you'll have your time to be brave." It's something that his mother said to him before he ended up having to leave from his parents. And the moment came, the elephants was, they was stomping, and Sarabi was in trouble. And what did Taka do? He hid. He tried to save himself yet again. He keeps having these moments of opportunity to be brave, but then he doesn't because fear grips him. And then Mufasa is just being himself. Mufasa is just trying to live and survive. But Mufasa is also in a state where he is taking care of everybody who is around him. He's not so much concerned about saving his own life as he is about making sure those around him are saved and safe. And so he risks it all. Cause baby, them that was like a stampede of elephants, and he risks it all, saves Sarabi, and then lies about it. It's like, Taka did it. But so Taka sees this, and he's like, "You betrayed me, you backstabber, all the things." So now Taka goes and starts making deals with the enemy. Taka goes to seek out the enemy that he's supposed to be on the run from. And he over here cutting deals to try and get Mufasa offed. Bitterness has taken root. That sin was crouching at his door. He tried to set up a whole situation so that them white lions could get to Mufasa and take him out. And he wouldn't even do it himself. Y'all, that's the crazy part about it. And I ain't did all that now. Yeah, he went to the enemy and cut a deal, trying to set homeboy up like straight, like a straight mark. I just can't say it no other way. He he did that. And even with all of that, even with him making deals with the devil to get Mufasa up out of here, Mufasa still wins. Why? Because he's marked? Because he's chosen? Everything works out for you when you are the chosen of God? Okay? Mufasa still shows him mercy. After all of that, they had made it to the promised land. They in there. Mufasa's actually reunited with his mother because his mama made it there. So he gets there. His mama's already there waiting for him. His daddy didn't make it, but his mama's there waiting for him. You know, Disney got a thing. I don't know about this. This is generational. We not gonna go there. We're not gonna go there right now. Stay on task, SD. Stay on task. We not doing that right now. But Mufasa don't kick him out the promised land. He let him stay. He just says, we ain't gonna use that name no more. We Mickey talk about go there. No, I'm not gonna go there today. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how much time I have left after I get through these notes right here. But yeah, Mufasa shows him mercy after everything. Mufasa lets him stay. That's how we end up knowing him as Scar. We know him as Scar because of this moment in the movie at the end where he's like, you can stay, but we will never speak your name again. Taka is dead to me. And he says, all right, you can call me Scar. Mufasa's kindness did not change his wounded heart. Sometimes, no matter how much you love somebody, how much you give to them, Only God can heal that piece of them if they allow it to be so. If they allow it to be so, that's the only way it's going to happen. Scar could not let it go. And now when you look at the Lion King that we grew up with, that we watched, and we was like, what was going on between Scar and Sarabi? It makes a little bit more sense, right? Because he was bitter. He was very much bitter about the fact that, she wasn't with it, she wasn't doing it, it wasn't happening. He was bitter. He was very much bitter. He let that bitterness seep in and fester and linger to the point where he was willing to put his own nephew in danger. He was willing he was willing to kill his brother to get the throne. And it's not like he did any better in the position. He got in position and the pride was just taken over. Dry, desolate. He ruined it. Not everybody will see your love for what it is. Some people are so wounded and so bitter and so upset, they will twist your love because of their wounds. Mufasa really should have banished him from those lands, should have banished him from Pride Rock, but he didn't. Mufasa allowed him to stay. Because he allowed him to stay, it cost him. And it cost Simba. Because there were so many seeds that were planted by Scar that caused Simba to miss out on a whole section of his life, caused him to not have a father. That is a generational pattern. Mufasa lost his father. Simba lost his father. It's giving Saul and who was them people? Nikki, help me out here. Who was the people? Was it the Amalekites? He was supposed to destroy all the Amalekites, and he did not destroy them all. And then what happens? Now we have Haman. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. And we have Haman in the times of Esther, trying to off all of the children of Israel because he should have been destroyed. And I feel like that might not be the people. Y'all just hold on, because now I gotta look it up. I wasn't even trying to go there right now, but let me look, because I can't be on here uh telling y'all falsehoods. So let me see. Who was Saul? I got to give it to you. Oh, okay. No, I was right. I was right. It was the Amalekites. Saul was supposed to destroy all of the Amalekites, and he didn't do it. Um, Mufasa really should have. He really should have banished Taka once everything was done and they was in the promised land. He shouldn't have been allowed to stay because he let him stay. Simba had to grow up without a father. Simba ended up not in the very land that Mufasa spent his whole life like trying to get to. He was already on a journey to this land with his parents. Then he gets separated from his parents and he's out in the wilderness and he meets Taka and all the things, right? And so he's living this life. Eventually he ends up at Pride Rock, but he's living without parental guidance and all the things. And now, a generation later, because Scar was allowed to stay, Simba ends up growing up in a land away from where he's supposed to be. because all because daddy, he had a big heart. He cared. He didn't want to just see him out there, even though he did him wrong, set him up. Still let him stay. We be trying to spare what God said is spoiled. Listen, we be trying to spare what God said is spoiled. And he's like, nah, bruh. It's time to let that go. It's time to let that go. Not everyone is going to see your love for what it is. Some people's wounds are so bad, they're going to twist it, they're going to abuse it, they're going to have a version of what they see happening, and you will not be able to convince them that the lies that they have conceived in their head are far from the truth. You will never be able to convince them because they will not allow the Lord to bring healing. Jesus knew exactly who Judas was. Okay? Knew exactly who Judas was. Loved him anyway. You can love somebody with everything you have, and they will still betray you. I was just trying to save my son from this experience and jacked it all up. Listen, we cannot put our hands to things that God is not telling us to put our hands to. This is where we be getting it wrong because the things we're supposed to put our hands to, we don't be wanting to touch that. And then the stuff that we need to leave alone, we be all hands everywhere, just trying to pick stuff up, and all the things that we supposed to be leaving alone. That's what we grabbing and touching, and and God is like, why? You supposed to be over here doing this. Why are you over here touching that? Leave that alone. I shared this movie to tell you, like, it is not your job to fix their trauma. You can't fix their trauma. What you can do is you can make sure you are open to allowing the Lord to deal with your trauma, allowing the Lord to heal your wounds so that you are not moving through the lens of those wounds, so that you are not hyper fixated on things and your perception of reality is off because everything that you process is being processed through the things that you have experienced and the trauma of it. Have you allowed your nervous system to re-regulate, or are you still in panic mode? Are you still in survival mode so you can't even properly process what you're experiencing? You got to be able to come out of survival, take a deep breath, and think about what is happening. Are you in a safe space? If you are in a safe space, it is okay to breathe. You don't have to be in full fight mode. All my life I had to fight. Like, you don't have to fight anymore. Gotta breathe. Gotta relax. Gotta take a moment. It is okay. But you have to understand that it is okay. See, what happens is we replay things in our mind. Our brain does not know the difference between what we are experiencing right now and something we have experienced in the past, or things that are not reality. That's why when you watch a scary movie or something, like, your body, your brain thinks it's happening to you in that moment. Which is why some people, they just are like, I can't do the scary movie thing, can't do it. What? Because your body is having a reaction because your body does not know that it is not real. That is the danger of TV and movies, but they knew that when they created it, because the whole industry, when they created television, they made sure to hire psychiatrists and people who studied the brain and studied the mind so that they could tell your vision lies and make you believe them. It's called television programming for a reason. They are programming you. It's up to you to pay attention. Remind yourself that is not real. I am now safe. The space that I am in, I am safe. That was the past. I'm no longer in that situation. You have to remind yourself of those things. You have to tell yourself, even if you have to say it out loud, it is okay. Some of us has been through some things, okay? Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, your girl has been through some real heavy stuff, okay? We're not gonna get into that on this live, but your girl been through some things. If you really want to know, I have a poetry collection called These Dry Bones on Amazon. It gives you a real deep dive into what I have survived. Okay, so I've experienced some things where feeling safe in my body has taken some practice. And it's an ongoing practice, okay? We still have to regulate the nervous system. We have to tell ourselves, I am safe. I am okay in this present moment. I am in my home. This is my home. I have dominion in this space. We have to begin to take ownership of our body, take ownership of your spirit, take ownership of your soul. It is not the next person's responsibility to heal you. Your triggers are your responsibility. Managing your triggers, it's your responsibility. People do not need to walk on eggshells around you because you don't know how to have gravity over the things that trigger you. That is not okay. Because at some point, you have to begin to take responsibility for your life, for your actions, for your existence in the world. You are here. What you have been through may have completely and totally sucked. Trust me, I understand that. I've been through some things that completely and totally sucked. But it is not anybody else's job to deal with that if I'm not willing to deal with it and take control of it and not allow that to be the thing that causes a ripple effect of just chaos and more trauma in the lives of everyone around me. Taka refused to allow himself to fully process and deal with the things that he experienced and lived. And he took on a new identity. He took on the identity of Scar. He took on that identity. And in taking on that identity, he further allowed those wounds to overshadow his life to the point where he ran with the hyenas. He took he took a spot of rulership with the hyenas, not not with the lions. He took on a whole new identity. That identity caused him to remain bitter. That identity caused him to move with hatred in his heart to the point where he had no qualms about deceiving his nephew, traumatizing his nephew, having his nephew watch his father die. Like that's crazy, y'all. And I know we're talking about an animated movie here, but y'all, this happens in real life when people do not allow themselves to actually heal. Where do they end up? Causing chaos in other people's lives. Chaos followed Scar. Hurt people. Yeah. He traumatized his nephew, caused his nephew to live in exile almost, really. And then what happened? Nala has to grow up without her best friend. Everybody's thinking this boy is dead. And he just ran away somewhere. His uncle wanted him. unalived. But because the hyenas were not, really effective at their job, because God already had a plan to put him back in his rightful place. You feel me? I'm giving you layers. There's so many layers to it, Nikki. There's so many layers, and I'm just like, yo, we we got to be willing to do the inner work with ourselves. We cannot manage other people's triggers. We must manage our own. Sometimes you have to love people from a distance. It's unfortunate. Sometimes you have to love people from a distance because their trauma only allows them to see you a certain way. Their trauma only allows them to view you in a light that may not be the truth. And we can't control that. So I want you to drop drop a lion emoji in the comments if you have had to love somebody from a distance. Trust me, I get it. I understand. I've definitely had to love some people from a distance. But that is relationships and trauma from the viewpoint of Scar and Mufasa. You know, I hope y'all have enjoyed this. This is Thursday Thoughts, where we look at life lessons from movies, books, and just anything that comes to mind. Might be some song lyrics. It may be something. I don't know. I don't know how the Lord gonna do it, but these are my Thursday thoughts. And make sure you subscribe if you want to be here again next Thursday. Turn your notifications on. I'm usually live Monday mornings, so Thursday evenings we will, we're gonna balance this thing out. We're gonna balance this thing out. Thursday evenings we will have Thursday thoughts. Monday mornings we have morning meditation, and yeah, we gonna keep growing. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep creating. We're going to love hard. We're going to live abundantly. And we're going to make sure that we are growing, y'all. So I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in this evening. Make sure you follow, like, share all of the things. And I will see y'all. Well, I'll see y'all Monday if you tune in. If not, I'll be back next Thursday. So, okay, love you. Bye.